Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of A Better You. My name is Joshua Nugent, and today is a very special episode because yesterday, and I meant to do this yesterday, but yesterday was my 2 years of sobriety. Very huge milestone, very happy about it. In terms of what I did, I pretty much just spent the night with my girlfriend. She bought me a red velvet cake, very delicious cake. And we shared that moment together, and it was a very nice moment. And this episode I really want to take time to just self-reflect on the journey so far, and just kind of highlight important people throughout the journey, and hopefully showcase hey, this isn't something that I did alone. Definitely needed help from a lot of different people. And when I first started this journey of sobriety, I had no idea really what I was getting myself into. And I don't want to really rehash some of the old stuff I said, but, being in my room back in my parents' house and just totally not having a real grasp of the situation of, what's going to happen to me. Where am I going to end up if I keep going down this path of drug use? And one of the first people that really come to mind is my sister, because just having an open and honest conversation with her when I was first going through it, she was there to really reassure me and to give me the courage to admit that I have a problem. And that's the biggest first step in the sober journey, is admitting that there is a problem, that the drug use the drug use and the drinking, everything is it's not helping. And she and my parents definitely helped me, and shout out to my parents too. They helped me get into rehab, to have the courage and to go from New York to New Hampshire. Never been to New Hampshire ever before that point. And another person that comes to mind is the person who picked me up. Laura is a beautiful soul. She is a woman that drove from New Hampshire to New York, back to New Hampshire, all in the same day to pick me up. And without her, without that commitment, I wouldn't be here today. And just the type of person she was, and helping me through the process, all the information, gathering all the information she needed, and just made that process so smoothly. She was the first person that I met in the community, really. And just her talking to me in that car ride, maybe in that moment, it didn't really, not saying it didn't mean a lot to her, but I don't think she was aware of what she was doing for me by communicating with me. And a huge shout out to her for that. And another huge shout out to the staff at Avenues Recovery. That is the rehab that I went to. And they made the whole process it was a safe environment to be in. It was something that helped me become the man that I am today through all the various therapy, group therapy, one-on-one therapy, and just the people that work there. So special. And particularly Ken and Amelia, who ran the groups. Big thank you to them. They were a huge help. There are times where some groups where it'd be like, I don't know if this is really conducive for my recovery. That was always a joke, but a lot of those groups like made me realize like the self-worth that I was lacking, and it made me appreciate myself more. But looking back on it, like the fact that they did that, they wanted to help people, and to take the time to reach out, and to always just be there was a huge blessing for me. Another person I have to give a huge shout out to is Angela. Angela, I was in awe of this woman, Angela, because she has like the thickest she has the thickest Boston accent, and it's insane. Like when you hear her, you're just so taken back by how she speaks. But she was a lovely woman, super sweet, and just another person, and also the person who ran the night groups when I was in IOP, and just another beautiful soul, someone that really helped me through my journey. And I was super thankful to have seen her one last time before I left back to New York. And I still, to this day, have that ticket to that raffle that they did in the meeting that she attends to. And her beautiful child that would always run around during the meeting was also like really fun to see and be a part of. And that ticket always, I have that placed on in a special place in my house. And then onto like the therapist, like Tracy. Tracy, oh my gosh, I mean, she is by far the best therapist I've ever had. I mean, for the 2 months that I had with her, like she really broke down a lot of walls that I had built over the course of my life. She really helped me understand the mindset and really understand why I was doing what I was doing at the time, and how to evolve, how to become a better version of myself, how to really, get to the next level, and to continue to achieve sobriety after rehab. I mean, she was that woman is amazing, and she is one of the biggest factors into that point of my life where recovery could be achieved. And then the two therapists that I had after, Margaret and Vincent, both very helpful, and super thankful to them that they took me after Tracy was promoted. I was very sad at that time, but realizing the lesson in having to switch therapists. Maybe not at the time, I was kind of annoyed and angry, but looking back on it, it really did help. And I'm super thankful for those two for taking me on after, and just, just continuing to, just to be there and just to listen and give advice and help me during my journey as well. A lot of the other staff members, like the BHT staff members, and just messing around with them and talking to them, also like was really nice too during my stay. Not at certain times. There'd be certain times where I'd get really mad, but there were other times where, I could see like what recovery did for them, and just understanding, like, even when those times where I was mad, maybe not again in the moment where I'm experiencing it, but looking back, it's like, they're human too, and they make mistakes too, and no one's perfect. And I think the whole, 30 days in rehab is like the biggest lie that, that's like such a misconception. Like, you only need 30 days in rehab and you'll be okay. And it's just farthest from the truth. It's, you need so much more time than 30 days to really get a grasp of sobriety. I mean, just to, I was in rehab from May 30th to October 14th. I was there for quite a while. And I needed that. I needed that extra insurance, And it's funny because Avenues, a lot of people going into it thought it would be 30 days, or I think they said it was like 30 days or 90-day program, but no, it wasn't. And I'm glad that it wasn't, because, the people that I met throughout my stay too, and just experiencing like other people's journeys too. Huge shout out to my best friend in rehab, Cam, because I know he's going to be listening to this at some point. But yeah, Cam was, I felt like Cam was like my first real friend. Someone that I didn't have to get high or, just to talk about drugs or be under the influence or anything like that. Just to talk to him. I understand we were both there for the same thing, but just that first time, like, meeting him, I was just so unsure of who he was and, what this person was about. And, as the coming weeks came and I started to see who he was, and, he was just someone that's like almost like a big brother in a way. And, he's a really solid guy, solid dude. And I praise him, for how he was and how he is today. Still that same guy that I met first day, and, I consider him a friend for life. So, thank you to Cam for that. And also a huge shout out to Taylor. Oh man. Taylor, I also met Taylor through rehab. She was also attending, and Taylor taught me a very important lesson too on how to have a female friend. And because growing up, I was just super insecure about that, having female friends and just staying away from that. And she kind of like broke down that wall for me too, made me, not so fearful and shy and just kind of open up. And I remember the first time we ever spoke, we talked about this YouTube channel, All Gas No Brakes, in Boston. And that was, I think we went to the aquarium. Yeah, she was like super cool, and it was fun to just like chat about that and just to talk, because I was still kind of new at that time, and so that was like a cool experience. And Cam and Taylor, I owe them a lot. They're really good friends of mine, and I really do hope to see them soon. After them, Rich, my good friend Rich. Uh, Rich, there's always this joke that Taylor would say to Rich, and he would get so annoyed because Rich's profession is he's a pharmacist, and Taylor and this other girl named Genesis. Oddly enough, we were all in the same process group or group therapy, and she would always say, like, "Are you a pharmacist?" And Rich would, like, the look on his face every time she would say that, he would just like, "Ugh." Like, okay, it was funny the first time. But Rich is another solid guy. Rich also does Dharma recovery, and I think, like, that's what helped him and I connect a lot through that. And Rich was, oh my gosh, I don't remember how old he was, but he's old enough to have a child. I don't even know what that means. I know he's like 10 years older than me, at least. I know he's in his 30s, but like, he was somebody that, like, kind of grounded me, because he was a lot more mature and really helped me see things from a different perspective too. And I don't know if Rich knows this, but he is he's very wise and just very observant. That was something that I always respected about Rich. And even after, like, him and I left rehab, like, this man would pick me up and from my sober house and take me to the Wednesday Dharma meetings, and just those car rides over there and coming back, like, that helped me grow a bond with Rich more. And I really miss doing that with him, because that was always such a fun experience, just those car rides. And they were like maybe like 15-20 minute car rides, I think, or maybe like 20 to 25. But we would just talk, and for going there and coming back. And it was nice to still see Rich and talk to him, and just be honest and personal with him, and just someone that I could talk to. And Rich, beautiful family, and I wish him nothing but the best as well. Another person, another huge person in my life, my mentor, Chris. Chris was someone that really helped me through the early stages of recovery, and someone that always found the time to talk to me and to pretty much give me guidance on just Dharma and just life, and just always like giving me, always knowing what to say. Like, not that he like was expecting it or looking for my calls, but seeing the practice that man did, the meditation practice. And he was also he's also a power lifter, and just a huge dude, like bulky, like just a strong guy, but just gentle giant, honestly. And he's someone that I really look up to as well. And his insight, and just how wise he is too, and how he carries himself. And another person that like I wouldn't be here without as well. I mean, just the hours that I would spend calling and talking to him on the phone, every week when I was in rehab, and even after, after I've gotten out, and up until recently, like, he's someone that, I know that if I need to talk to someone, like, I can always reach out to him, and, he'll find some amount of time to talk. And, even the Zoom meetings that he hosts on Sundays, and just taking the time to do that is so big and so huge. And Chris is always have a special place in my heart for that as well, for just everything he's done for me, and just super thankful for him. And after I got out of rehab, like, those are the people that really, like, impacted me while I was in rehab. And after I got out of rehab and I moved into the sober house, the first person that impacted me was Jonathan, the owner of the sober house that I was in. Jonathan allowed me to live in one of his homes, and spoke with me about just sobriety, and saw where I was at. And I'm forever grateful in his debt for that, because he gave me an opportunity to really evolve as a man, and really, he gave me a place to stay. To me, Jonathan, another solid guy in recovery, a solid dude. And not only him, but Ashley, the case manager, if I ever needed anything too, she was also, like, there at a, one phone call away if I ever needed anything. She was always ready to go. And Jonathan and Ashley, super, super helpful. After them, I think the person I really got close with in that house, and still to this day, I have no idea if he listens to these podcasts or not, but my good friend Nate. Nate, it was interesting because him and I, we went to the same rehab, and Nate and I weren't very close in rehab, and I don't really know why. I guess maybe because just the people that we hung out with might have been a little bit different. I mean, we're in rehab, so it's not like, because, like, we see each other every day. But I guess, like, once I got to IOP, and then he got to IOP, you're pretty much, like, almost out the door, and you're kind of free from a lot of the restrictions. So when I heard he was coming to move into the sober house that I was in, I was kind of happy that someone that I know was moving in. And I felt like that first night that we spoke and he was there, and it was really comforting, and it was really nice to know that, like, so I know someone in the house now, because when you move into a sober house, you're living with, in the house I was in, I moved in with like 20 to 25 other men, and that is quite the experience, and that's for another episode. But knowing that Nate was there, and over the months from October to June, we went to meetings together, we hung out together, we spoke a lot, and we lived on the same floor at one point, which was really awesome. And Nate was just a really good guy too, super kind, and really, really fun to hang around. And I know at times he can be very self-conscious, but I really hope Nate, if he is listening, that I miss you, buddy, and you're a really good guy, and I hope that that anxiety that you sometimes, like, I don't want to say sometimes let it affect you, but sometimes it does affect you. I hope that you understand your value and your worth, your self-worth, because you're an amazing guy, and another person that I would consider our friend for life too. And after all that, and after moving away from New Hampshire, some people are like, well, why would you move away if you know all these people? And the main reason was for family, to come back home to New York and to be close to my mother and my father, and to really kind of patch things up, and to make amends, and to just show them how far I've come. And I don't regret it. I don't regret moving back, because for some people it'd be like, oh, that might be a little dangerous. You don't really know anyone in the recovery, and which may be true, but I know that I can always contact these people if I ever need to talk. And me and my girlfriend are planning a trip in June to visit, and that will be I'm hoping to get some very good content out in New Hampshire, because there are some people that I want to record episodes with. So that will be a lot of fun to do. And yeah, I mean, I came down here, and just the journey from year one, or from day one to year one, and then year one to year two, I think I want to highlight that, because that's very important. So from day one to year one, a lot of it felt like work. It felt like I was trying to build something, and what I was building was my foundation for how I approach life. That was something that was very crucial during that time, and all those people that I mentioned, they helped me build that foundation. Understanding Dharma, and understanding sobriety, understanding the things that I have to do in order to continue building my sobriety. These people showed me a lot about myself and what works for myself, but what also works for them, and kind of taking what they know and applying it to myself. So I learned from so many different people in recovery. The countless meetings that I went to, and hearing people talk, and even going out on commitments, and talking at different rehabs, and talking to different people, and sharing my story, and just being honest about where I was at life. And that's what I did from day one to year one, was all that work that built up was to that. And year one to year two, from what I notice, is, because a lot of people say the first year is the easiest, from what I heard, and like from various people in the community, in the recovery community. I've heard a lot of people say the first year is the easiest, the second year is the toughest. And to be very honest with you, that wasn't my experience. From year one to year two was not my experience, because remembering the foundation, constantly reminding myself of how far I've come, and to keep in touch with my mentor and the people back, the friends that I've had back in New Hampshire, and just constantly putting in that work and putting in that effort to apply the principles of Dharma and Buddhism into my everyday life has really helped me continue this path, to walk that middle path. And it's almost effortless at this point. And it's not to sound arrogant or cocky by any stretch of the means, because being able to continue that practice and being able to walk that path, I understand that, this is something that is going to be a lifelong journey with sobriety. I understand that, but I don't have to put that fear into myself. I don't have to have that thought process anymore of like, oh my God, I have to do this for the rest of my life. It's more of like, let's just focus on today. Let's just focus on what I'm going to do today. And having that mindset and having that process, working on that process, like, has paid like 10 times over, because my approach to life is just so at peace. I don't have to worry. And for some people, yes, okay, maybe year 1 to year 2 is very tough, but to be very honest, like, that wasn't my experience. Like, okay, yeah, maybe there were some moments where I was down, right? But that just kind of comes with life. You're going to have your ups and downs. And a lot of people, in the way that they spoke, it was like, oh, you're going to, it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. And it just wasn't that experience. And I think it's very unfair to put that on people. Just because you experience something a certain way doesn't mean someone else will. And I'm not the type of person that, I try not to put expectations on things. And this was one of the things that I didn't do. I didn't put expectations on this. And I saw how it turned out. And it was like, wow, okay. Like, this was how I experienced it. This is what I did. And it works for me. So, and right now in this very moment, just the fact that I'm doing this podcast and just talking about this stuff and playing the memories back in my mind again, I wouldn't trade any of this away for anything. No amount of money or possessions or whatever. Like, these memories, these experiences are, and just this gift of being sober is truly the most precious thing that I have, like, in my possession right now. These memories, these relationships, the continued sobriety, these are things that I value so much, and I'm forever thankful for the people that have helped me on my journey and have gotten me to this moment. And to be able to share this with people is truly a blessing. And, hopefully, every year maybe I'll do like a podcast like this every anniversary, just as a constant reminder of, how far I've come, but also to just continue down the path. So with that, I will end things here. I just want to thank everyone for continuing to listen to these, whoever you are. It's always appreciated to see people viewing this, and I hope that people get something out of these, even if it's just one person, and even if nobody gets anything out of it. Just the fact that some people took the time to listen to these is truly amazing. So with that, I thank you all for listening to this episode, and I hope you all have a beautiful day, rest of your day. If someone hasn't told you this already, you are loved, you are appreciated, and I hope that you recognize your own self-worth and your value, because you truly are a gift to this world and you can do so much. So with that, thank you for listening. God bless, and until next time.